The pasuk in the Torah says, "Im kesev talve es ami." So we're talking about today the inyan of lending money. It's a very important thing. A lot of people, I know the halacha. Oh, of course I have to lend money, right? But many people don't understand the various halachas that go together with lending money. And not only that, how chashuv it is to lend money. It's an incredible, incredible mitzvah. So I would like to learn of it. It's one of the mitzvahs in the Torah. I would like to learn about it a little bit, maybe today. Hopefully try to finish the halachas today to understand a little bit about it. Ask the Orach Chaim HaKadosh an incredible question. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh asks, if lending money is an obligation, this is a very famous Orach Chaim, by the way. If lending money is an obligation, which it is, right? It's one of the mitzvahs. A person has an obligation. A chiv, we'll talk about it where it comes from in Shulchan Aruch. But we see from the Torah, im kesev tal vesami. So ask the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, why does the Torah use a lashon of im? What does im mean? If. That's the literal translation. Why, if something is an obligation, is the Torah recording it as an if? It's basically like an optional situation. So the Orach Chaim HaKadosh says an incredible thing. Listen carefully, Rabbi Yisrael, for the rest of your lives you have to remember this Orach Chaim HaKadosh. You have to live with this Orach Chaim HaKadosh. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh writes, there's no shaila. The Rabbi Yisrael has enough money to go around. You don't have to worry about that, right? Oba, this particular person isn't Zaycha, for whatever reason, to get his money directly from the Rabbeinu Shalom. Rather, he has to embarrass himself and ask people for money. And it is very embarrassing to ask people for money, whether it's for yourself or whether it's even for a yeshiva. It's extremely embarrassing, let me tell you. Right? I've experienced it a little bit myself. It's not an easy thing to do, even if you're not collecting for yourself. It's embarrassing, that's how it is. So Orach Chaim HaKadosh says there are people that were not Zoycha to get money directly from the Rabbeinu Shalom. They have to embarrass themselves and ask, why? Explains the Orach Chaim HaKadosh. He must have done things that are not 100% kosher, and therefore he doesn't deserve to get his money directly from the Rabbeinu Shalom. Instead, the Rabbeinu Shalom gives his money to a rich person, or to a richer person than him, and this person gives it out. Now, listen carefully. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh says there are two reasons for this. Reason number one is to make the oni suffer for his averas, even on a small level. We're not talking about he's a bal choite, he's a terrible man, he's a bal avera. Could be he did one thing and he has to suffer a little bit by asking someone for money. Memela, that's one reason that the oni needs some kind of tshuva, kapara. Memela, he has to ask someone for money. Reason number two, so the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, and this is very important to remember, and that is to give the wealthy person, again, wealthy doesn't mean necessarily, it means, obviously everything's relative compared to the person that needs the money, him an opportunity to do mitzvahs with his money. And that's the reason, says the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, why people have money. People have to remember that. The reason why you have money is in order to do with it mitzvahs, in order to help people, give tzedakah, lend it to other people. So, okay, that's beautiful pshat. What's that got to do with the question? How did that answer the question of im? The question was, if lending money is an obligation, why does the Torah spell out im kesef? What's the im? Says the Orach Chaim HaKadosh Abayisai. If, says the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, the Torah is telling you, if you find yourself in a situation where you have everything that you need, lend to other people. Why? Es oni. Because the portion that should have been given to him, imach, was given to you. And therefore, you have to share that which never belonged to you to begin with somebody else. Because it really belonged to him to begin with. The Chavetz Chaim brings in his Gavaldige Sefer Avas Chesed, he brings in Perek Yud Beis, he brings a Medrash in Mishlei Perek Chav Beis, where the Medrash says that a person can have 1,000 dinar, but he was never koine shem toiv. He was never koine anything. Says the Chavetz Chaim, if a person wants to be koine shem toiv, a good name in this world, and if he wasn't koine shem toiv, it means he never did tzedakah, he never did chesed with his money, and therefore everything he was koine, everything he bought, everything he acquired is actually worth nothing. Which is why, as the Chavetz Chaim explains, a person will have to give din v'cheshbon. Can you imagine, after 120 years of living in this world, you're going to have to give a din v'cheshbon of exactly the money that was entrusted to you. Why didn't you do better things with it? Now again, this doesn't mean you're a wealthy guy. You don't have to be a wealthy person, but if you have what you need, then extra money is made to do tzedakah or chesed, like lending money, which we will get to. And that's the im. If you find yourself in a situation, lend it to Ani because it belongs to him anyway. It was just entrusted to you to give to him. What's that?
This is besides Meiser.
This is besides my. I'm only discussing stocker today. I don't mind doing stock another time, but I think right now we'll just look at the pocket halacha series. It's easier. But this is about lending money. This is a whole different sugya. Okay, shout out. So
everyone has something more than you have to give them money.
Again. If
Everyone has like something less than you have to give them money.
do you have to give them money? It depends. If they need it and they ask from you, then maybe yes. Depends on the situation, right? But I want to discuss the general idea of lending money and how to do it in a kosher way, because it's very, very important. People often don't know the halachas. So again, the pasuk we learned in Kesev Talva Es Ami Es Oni Imach, the Mechilta tells us that this is one of the 3 ims that's a chiyuv. Says the Mechilta that 3 times an im in the Torah, in Mizbeach, whatever, different times as well, by the Bikurim as well. And the Mechilta says the im over here is referring to a chiyuv. It's an absolute obligation to lend money. Now here we have the Shulchan Aruch brings it in Yeridei Siman Reish Mem Tes Sivov Chosh Mishpat Tzadi Zayin Siv Aleph. The halacha is that if somebody asks you to lend money, you have an obligation min ha-Torah to lend them money. Just like you have a chiyuv on Pesach night to eat matzah, just like you have a chiyuv in the morning to put on tefillin, just like you have many of the chiyuvim that we do. This is a mitzvah d'oraisa. If somebody asks you for money, you have to lend them. Now, we'll discuss the different pratim in a moment. By the way, there is no nafkamina if he's rich or poor. The guy could be the richest guy in the world. I remember once I was waiting outside. There was a line by the mikveh because I was like wondering what's the line for, and there was a extremely wealthy fellow who was basically, he didn't have enough change, he didn't have enough money, whatever it was. So he was going around snoring. Everyone, could you lend me 5 shekel? Could you mind lending me 5 shekel? And here's the wealthiest guy in the world. Can I know what he's got in the bank over there? But it's not going to help you when you go to the mikveh, right? It's like what they say after 120 in Shammai. It ain't going to help you all the money in the world. At the end of the day, it all depends what you did in this world, right? Somebody told me a Moed Kazach, by the way, just agav, I don't know how we're getting onto this now. Someone told me that he taught his kids this yisoid by telling us a Gavaldi Kazach. He said he gave his son $10. Spending money, whatever it was. And he straight away said, oh, you got $10? You need to give some money. Well, no problem, fine, I'll give some money. He was teaching his son to give some money, so he took $1 off of the stack of one of the ones and he gave $1. So he said to his son, no, how much do you have left? The son was 7 years old, 8 years old, I don't remember exactly. I have $9 left. You have $1. I said, what do you mean? I have $9 left. I only gave $1. I said, no. Whatever you have in your hand, you'll spend on candy, you'll spend on things that are just going to be here today, gone tomorrow. That which you gave to tzedakah is something that's yours. You keep it with you. It always belongs to you. And that's how a person should look at the money that he gives to other people, whether it's in tzedakah, whether it's even in lending money and you're going to get it back. It's the same idea. And that's why a person has to realize, even a guy could be the wealthiest guy in the world. If this guy is worth $10 billion, but I lent him 5 shekel at the mikveh, I have an obligation to lend it to him, because right now he has no money. So he's considered to be a poor person. Okay? Now, by the way, Shulchan Aruch says clearly, Lav Dafka is talking about money. It could be svarim. It could be anything for that matter. Your bike, your car, if you can. Obviously, lending is all included. Asks the Rashba, the famous question which the Rashba normally talks about. Everyone mentions this Rashba. What happened to the bracha? Why is there no bracha when you lend someone money? It's a mitzvah d'oraisa. Why don't we say a bracha? Oh, you want to borrow money? 5 shekel, just give me a second. Mikvah, gartel, baruch atah. No, what happened? Why don't we make a bracha on it? Anybody? Famous Rashba, no Rabbi say.
No limit.
No limit? What do you mean no limit?
You could always give.
Say that. No limit. There's no limit by Torah. We say bracha on Torah. We say bracha on many things. What's that?
Detracts from the giving.
Ooh, gavaldik, says Daniel Mayudik. What do you mean? The guy could turn around and say, I don't want it in the end. It's fine, I don't want your money. So there you were, the gartel, you made the bracha, all the kavanas, hefsek, take it, otherwise you've got a problem with hefsek, right? So the Rashba says that since the Maisa, the guy may not accept it, the mitzvah will become bottle, the Mela, we cannot ask you to make a bracha. Now, let's move on, Rabbi Sai. A very important Gemara in Shabbos, Samar Gimel Omar Aleph, we learned this in Daf Yomi not long ago. Within the year, it's geschmack, we can say that now still, just about. Samar Gimel Omar Aleph says the Gemara. Anybody remember the Gemara? You can say, you don't have to be embarrassed, it's fine. It's okay, you don't have to be embarrassed. What?
There's so many there.
There's so many. Oh, I don't remember which one it was. So the Gemara says, Omer of Abba, Omer of Shimon ben Lakish, Godel Amalva, Yosem and Aiset Staka. Can you imagine? Lending someone money is bigger than doing tzedakah. Why?
More respectable.
Ooh, very good. Shimon Gavaldik. Rashi. That's the way you have to learn Rashi. So you have to learn Rashi. Because Rashi says, you're not embarrassing the guy. Tzedakah, the guy's embarrassed. Lending the money, no problem. Gavaldik. Now, Let's move on, Rabbi Isai. Okay, so that is greater than tzedakah. That's why it's a very, very important thing. The chinuch also in Mitzvah Samach Vav says down the same thing as well, that lending money to someone is bigger and greater than giving tzedakah in this case. Let's move on, Rabbi Isai. By the way, the Chavetz, if anybody likes skullers, anybody likes skullers? Everyone loves skullers, right? Yeah. We always used to say, if we could find a skuller for every simon in Shulchan Aruch, then everyone would keep everything. Because it's a skuller. So they have a skuller over here that the Chavetz Chaim writes. There's a skuller straight from the Chavetz Chaim. Imagine the Chavetz Chaim was him in the Beis Medrash, Halavai, and he was giving out skullers to people. Would you listen? Okay, so the Chavetz Chaim writes in a Sefer Avas Chesed, Chelik Gimel, Perik Gimel. He writes an amazing skuller. He says it's tried and tested to have children. And there are many people out there who, unfortunately, don't have children yet. We should all be zeichet to have children at the right time. But Al Kaponim, there are people who never don't have that wonderful schus. Says the Chavetz Chaim, I have a scholar that's tried and tested. Set up a gemach of money to help people. So the Chavetz Chaim, many people tried it, and they were matzliach, and they had children. So if you know anybody, and you have a way of telling them this in a very nice way, or sending them the Avos Chesed with this underlined or highlighted in a nice way, possibly this will be a Gavaldika Yeshua for them, because if you lend money to people, why exactly it works that way, why lending money, this I don't know, I can't tell you. Let's move on to Rabbi Isai. Okay, so how do you lend people money? How do you do it? What's the say that dvar? Anybody know? How do you lend someone money? Oh, Shimon Mayradik. Kavaldik, beautiful. Shimon knows the Gemara in Bab Mitzvah, Daf Ayin Beis on a base. Omer Yehuda Marav. Kol mi sheyesh lo moyas. Anybody that has cash. Umawa iman shaloi be'edim. And he does not use edim, witnesses, when he lends the money. He transgresses that which it says, Lifnei iver lo sita mikshal. Can you imagine? That means somebody, you lend someone, anybody here lent any money before? Yes. Did anybody use Eidim? No. Who said yes? Me. Shimon, obviously, because you know the Gemara Bar Mitzvah. You use Eidim?
I wish I did.
I wish I did. There we go. No. Maskim?
Someone should have you.
Okay. Why do we need Eidim? What's the pshat we need Eidim? Okay. By the way, again, Rashi says on that Gemara, Rashi says, Goyrem klola la'atzmo. You know what that means? You cause a klola to yourself if you lend without edim. What's the pshat? So listen very carefully, I know it's early in the morning, but listen very carefully to understand the different pirushim, why the Gemara says you have to lend money with edim, and if not, then Hashem yirachim. Says the Lecha Mishnah on the Rambam. The Lecha Mishnah says the Hashash is that he's going to forget about the loan, and he's going to believe that he never lent them, he never borrowed the money. It's not the pshat he's denying it. We're not worried he's going to deny it. You with me in the tunnel? Yeah. He's not going to deny it. He probably thinks, what? I never borrowed money from you. He probably doesn't believe it in that case. That's the Lecha Mishnah's pshat. The Marashdam explains that no. We're worried that he's intentionally going to lie. He's going to be dafka going to deny it, either that it ever happened or that it was paid up. My nafkamina. Hello? My nafkamina.
One's obviously, because the one makes more sense like
my nafkamina. English. What is the difference?
I said, one, he's actually like trying to get the guy to stop the loan when he's not actually trying.
The difference would be what precautions you have to take when you lend the money. If the chashash is like the marashtam, that he's going to intentionally lie, then an IOU is not going to help you. Why? Because what's he going to say? He'll say, what do you mean? It was paid already. And therefore nothing, I don't do anything. But if the chashash is that he's just going to forget, I didn't remember, I have an IOU, then in a chanami, then that's going to be good enough. Lemaisa, we're only choshesh that he's going to forget, and therefore any reminder is going to be sufficient in this case. The minig is one or the other, that you have either an IOU, or you have one aid, or you write some kind of note saying you lent the money or you borrowed the money. That's the Chavetz Chaim Paskin's Halacha L'Maisa, that one condition is enough. Either one aid or you write a note. Now the question is, Rabbi Isai, why does no one do this? Now it's not my question. The Heilige Aruch HaShulchan asked the Kasha. The Aruch HaShulchan Choshe Mishpat Siman Sadi Zayin Sikot and Aleph asked the Kasha. Why is it that we see people lending money and they're not doing it with the shtar, they're not doing anything? What's going on over here? So he brings one of the justifications, not saying it's mutter, of course a person should, but why the minig oilim, why people don't? And one of the reasons is because we're worried that, because we say that people generally trust each other, and therefore there's not a chashash in that case, because people trust each other that somebody else will not forget in that case. The Shulchan Aruch, the Balatanya wants the taina that he says that a shtar is better because Edim may only forget. And that's the thing over there. Now, the chiyuv to lend money is only if you have the money available. Now, if I don't have any money, am I mechuyev to go to the bank, Natanel, and get the money in order to lend? The answer is absolutely no. Maybe there's a midas chasidus to go to your bank and take out the money in order to borrow the money, lend the money. But ma'ika hadin, only if you have the money are you mechuyev to lend it in that case over there. Now, let's run, Rabbi say the kadima. Two people come to you, both want to borrow money and only have enough money for one. Who wins? Number one, an oni, a poor person, comes for an oshe, right? Unless the oni won't pay back or something like that. And the next thing is a korev, a relative, is someone also that as well to do that over there. Now, paying back a loan is very, very important as well. The Gemara tells us in Erchin, Chabeis Ksubas Peizayin, that Priyas Balchoiv is a mitzvah. To pay back is obviously a mitzvah. And the person has to be careful not to be like a creditor. In other words, to make sure to remind the person too much. There's a problem that a person has to remind the person to do that. Rabbi say, lending money is a gavaldiga mitzvah. It's a wonderful opportunity that the Orchaim HaKodesh tells us the money that was entrusted to us is money that we have an opportunity to do mitzvahs, to do chesed with. It's an unbelievable thing. I'll just end with this Moed Kazach. The Chavetz Chaim once woke up in the morning and he was terrified. And he said to people next to him, oh, that was a terrible dream. Terrible, terrible dream. Like, I just can't believe I had such a dream. I'm like, well, Rebbe, Chavetz Chaim, what was the dream? What could it have been so bad? Chavetz Chaim, what do you dream of? You didn't get right Pshat and Taisvus. You forgot the Rashba. Like, what was it already? The Chavetz Chaim said, I'll tell you the dream. The dream was that I won the lottery. That was my nightmare. I won the lottery, I became rich. They're like, all right, what do you mean? You won the lottery, it's beautiful, like all these people, I'll give money to tzedakah, I'll support yeshivas, it took so many things with it, what's the problem? Chavetz Chaim says, you know what an achrayus it is to have money? That achrayus I don't want. It's such an incredible achrayus. And everyone should remember that as well. Whatever you have, whether it's a little bit, whether it's a lot, the obligation is, the Orchaim HaKodesh is the Rebbeinu Shalom gave you that money to help other people. Whether it's in tzedakah, whether it's in lending money, to do chesed with that money. It's a wonderful opportunity. Let's use that opportunity, Be'ez Hashem. And through that, the Rebbeinu Shalom, Be'ez Hashem, will give us a lot more money. Have a wonderful, good day.